Hi, I'm Daniel Madison. Last week I opened up the doors for question time. Ask me anything. Maybe I will answer, maybe I won't. First of all, thank you so much for all of the questions. I definitely can't answer every one of them in this video. A lot of people asked similar or the same questions, so I've taken the most popular and the ones that I find the most interesting, and I'm going to dedicate this video to answering those questions right now. Are you quitting magic? No, I'm not quitting magic. Magic is such a creative and pure thing that's either in you or it isn't, and for me it's in here and it's in here, and that never leaves. So no, I'm not quitting magic. I'm taking myself as an artist in a very different direction, but I will still exist in some capacity in the magic world. The magic industry and the world itself doesn't do anything for me anymore. I'm completely fascinated and obsessed with playing cards that will never end. I will always pursue my love for playing cards, but my art and my artistry, it doesn't really fit in the magic world or the magic industry. It may feel like I've left, and in that sense, I guess in the mental sense I've moved on from magic, but I'll always exist in the magic world in some capacity. What's the only whiskey that matters? Well, I have a problem with alcohol, so it's the wrong question to ask somebody like me, because the answer is any. When I do like to enjoy a little whiskey, it's gotta be Jim Beam. If it's not Jim Beam, then you can. Why did you clear all your content from Facebook? I did the same thing with Twitter and Facebook. For me, my expressions, I like to express myself and my art through visual mediums. So Instagram is very important for me for my photography, and YouTube's very important for me for videos, and Vimeo too. I find a lot of negativity is born on Facebook and comes from Facebook, and it's kind of a very dark place it's become. I think it's just not the right place for me, neither is Twitter. And when you're faced with all these social platforms, there's so many of them, like we don't need them all. Like I found myself posting on Instagram and on YouTube and on video, and then those things get shared to Facebook and Twitter. So my Twitter feed and my Facebook feed, all they were repeating what my Instagram and YouTube were saying. So instead of sharing everything on every single social platform I can find, isn't it just better to tell people, if you want to see my photography, come over to my Instagram. If you care about my videos, go check out my Vimeo or my YouTube. I don't need Facebook. Facebook's never been good to me. It's never been kind to me. I've never liked Facebook. I never will, I don't think. Twitter's not too bad. I do like Twitter. It's just not for me. Been there, done that. Wrote a book about it. Quite a few people are asking me to talk about the Nine of Clubs, why the Nine of Clubs, what it means to me. It's such a personal story that I don't really want to tell that full story. I will tell you this, it came from a person who turned up in my life at the right time, just when I needed that person. And it involved, they really did save my life too. And it involved a story which was all about the Nine of Clubs, the loneliest playing card in the deck, the card that's selected the least, the card that's named the least. When you ask somebody to name a playing card out loud, or when you ask somebody to think of it, it's the least thought of, named and selected playing card. There's some truth in that, I guess, but it was a story, and the person who yeah, I can't really name them, it's such a personal story, but I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure people can relate how you can attach something that happened to something that's just an object, something that's as simple as a playing card, the Nine of Clubs. To everybody else, to anybody else who doesn't know about that, it's just a playing card, and it's just something I got tattooed and I use it a lot. But to me, it means something very personal. So that's the Nine of Clubs. Cheers. Can I get an autographed playing card from you? Yeah. Will the Confession series be released in a box set? No, they will not. They should have been. Like, we did originally design this beautiful box, this triangle box, so maybe I'll show you it one day, but eventually it ended up costing way too much, And I want people to have these playing cards. I want to see them in people's hands, and I want people to appreciate the playing cards as much as I do. So the original plan to put them in a box puts a huge limit on that, because in order for us to pay for the boxes to be made, the price on the decks really shot through the roof, and it would have been such an expensive product. I would rather make these playing cards as cheap as possible without compromising the quality. Now when you add a box set into the mix, you have to bump that price up to a ridiculous figure just to pay for the production. And to me, that's not important. What's important is that you get hold of these cards and you appreciate the design for what they are and use the playing cards rather than the box. Like, you take the playing cards out of the box gets just put on a shelf and wasted away. Like, I don't like owning things or collecting things other than owning playing cards, things that I need that are part of my life. I don't want a box on a shelf, so kind of selfishly I found myself in that position where I said, listen, we're not going to have a box set for these because I don't want them to be too expensive. Speaking of confessions, when will the Madison Confessions series be available? Well, they are already available secretly. I'm not going to tell you how you can get hold of them. I'm sure that secret is already circulating the communities and the internet because they're selling pretty quick. For those people who remember how I sold the Madison Hellions secretly, that's the only tip that I'm going to give you. And right now, I'm about to go get some fresh ink. Why the black and white? Well, there's quite a few different reasons, but I guess the main reason why I always stick to black and white is to keep things simple, keep things minimal. When it comes to editing photography and video, I always found it easier, rather than using any kind of color corrections, just to go black and white. And the first video that I ever made for this industry was called XVIII. That was about 20 years ago, maybe more than 20 years ago. And the color of the film that I made was all off and all really kind of messed up. So I changed it black and white and it looked amazing. And from that video I decided to, nobody else at that time was doing black and white videos in the industry. And this was back in the days of Cheetah, arguably the first platform ever for magic videos and performance videos for magicians and cardists. And there were a lot of videos on there, and they were all just kind of bedroom videos, and I was one of the first, amongst the first, to actually make a stylistic video. And I made it black and white, and I decided right there and then that that would be a trademark of mine, to keep things simple, keep things flat, so that you can focus on the playing cards and the moves I was doing rather than be distracted by anything else that surrounds that. So I've kind of carried that along with me. So that's the main reason why everything for me is black and white. Nietzsche said, "An artist has no home in Europe except in Paris." Magic is dead. I've been saying these three words for my entire career in the magic industry. For 20 years now, I've published those three words in every book I've ever written. But when you isolate those three words, magic is dead, it's very provocative, and it's very kind of thought-provoking, and it starts a conversation. Everybody's got an opinion on this because it's so dramatic, and it's such a statement, and it's much deeper than I usually ever explain, and I'm not going to explain it fully now what I mean, but the sentiment behind it, the full sentence that I always write and publish in my books, is magic is dead. It is for the magician to convince his audience to believe otherwise. No magician in the world believes that their magic is real and alive. That's our job as magicians, to convince people, to convince audiences, witnesses and spectators that magic is very much alive. And that's the biggest part of our job. So for magicians to argue that magic is alive, or argue against me saying magic is dead, or the sentiment behind it, then that's a little bit twisted for me, you know, it's a little bit backwards for me. So when I say magic is dead, it's the most sentimental sentimental sentence I have to say about magic. I think magic is a beautiful thing, and I'm very realistic about what magic is when I say magic is dead. It is for the magician to convince his audience to believe otherwise. Ass or tits. I'm disgusted with the kind of person who would put me in such a difficult predicament where I have to choose between ass or tits and I can't have both. It's a sick world we live in. It really is disgusting. Ass or tits, fuck yourself. I'm taking both, motherfucker. Do you think that it is important to be surrounded by like-minded people to develop and grow as an artist? I think the question was in there somewhere. For me, I need isolation, I need disconnection in order to create the most pure work, the most pure. My art is at its most purest when I'm completely isolated and disconnected from people, and nobody's there to interrupt or interfere or to tell me maybe do it like this or maybe do it like that. Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's terrible. I don't need any of that. I don't want my work, my art interfered with and slowed down or hindered or skewed in any way, not just negative but positive too. For an art form to be pure, it has to come from the person, and I find if I'm in a situation where my work can be interfered with or an opinion given or somebody just interrupts that flow, I find it very, very destructive and it makes me want to just start again and shut down, you know. My purest work always comes from here when I'm left on my own, no interruptions, no feedback, no positivity, no negativity, no interruption whatsoever. So I think it's very important for me to be isolated and disconnected and be away from like-minded people. Like-minded people, I don't want to know them because I'm one of them. I spend enough time with myself. I don't want to spend any more time with people like me than I already do. I'm enough to handle on my own. I don't need other people. I don't know magicians. I don't hang around with magicians or spend time with magicians unless I absolutely have to. And that is one of my greatest secrets in creating what I believe to be my best work. And that all comes from isolation. I understand that it may be important for some people in the early stages to surround yourself with good people and people who think they know what they're talking about. That can be valuable to you in the beginning. I found the more time I spend with these people, the more something kind of ruins in me, the more damaged I become in terms of being a creative artist, being a creative person in general. So isolation, disconnection, that's one of my best kept secrets. It's not anymore. You made me answer the question, motherfucker. Tony Spade, can we open an official Daniel Madison community in Russia at vk.com? Why the fuck not? Can you talk more about the TV show that you left? Yes, I can say a little bit for those people who don't know. I spent 4 years developing a TV show with Objective Productions and Channel 4 that never came to fruition. On that 4-year journey, the journey was more important than the outcome, and the outcome, I'm so grateful that it didn't happen and it didn't go ahead. The TV show was somewhere between the real hustle and like a real documentary style that kind of showcased and followed the skills of a criminal, a deception artist, which I was going by that title at the time, Deception Artist, and the TV show became Deception Artist. But I guess the relationship between like me and Channel 4, not Objective, but Channel 4 kept asking for changes from me. They kept, I didn't fit the character in the end. They wanted another Dynamo, another David Blaine. I wasn't prepared to do that. I had to stay true to myself and be myself and be the artist that I am, rather than being adaptable, being something that they wanted me to be. So they kept asking, yeah, this is okay, this is good, the criminal thing, the criminal skills thing, but we want to see you do magic tricks, and we want to see people respond and reacting to magic tricks. And I said, fuck no. I did bend a little bit and we played around with some ideas, but it eventually fell apart. Like the relationship just didn't work and I didn't want to become that guy. So it kind of, Deception Artist fell apart, and eventually we just, instead of bowing down and me saying, okay, if it gets me on TV, I'll become the next Dynamo, I'll do magic tricks. I said, fuck no, I can't do that. I couldn't do that to myself. I would have never have forgiven myself, and thank my God that I didn't do that. Because I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be very unhappy right now. I'm very happy that I walked away from that show. Channel 4 still needed to go ahead with that kind of show, so they asked me, can we use the name still? Can we take Deception Artist from you? And I said, fuck no. So eventually, I don't know if it's complete coincidence, but eventually, maybe a year later, I came out on TV. Deception Artist as well. Like, I used to love calling myself a Deception Artist for about 2 or 3 days, because then every fucking magician on the planet changed his title from magician to Deception Artist. And that was a big turning point in my life when I stopped being a magician, a sleight of hand artist, a Deception Artist, and I just became Daniel fucking Madison. Would you ever train somebody? For sure I would. I've trained quite a few people. When I became more of an artist, I learned more of the lessons about artistry and treating creative processes and art through teaching other people. So I learned kind of from myself teaching other people, and one of the biggest lessons I learned was you can't really teach pure art. You can't really do that. It's got to come from inside. It's got to come from in you. So what I started to do when I was training people and teaching people, I can only show them the ropes to start with. I can only show them the beginning process of how you get into this, like the basic sleights, the basic creative processes, and the things I've experienced and been through. But I could never take somebody to the next level. I think anybody who's looking to learn, most of the lessons are going to come from in here or from out there, from going out and practicing and gaining real life, real world experiences, and you will never stop learning. So you have to decide for yourself when you're going to become a professional, but you never know everything. You never stop learning. I think that's a very important thing. So my teaching, I eventually, the more artistic I became and the more I focused on myself as an artist, the less I could teach people, because you can't teach that. So all my lessons then in sleight of hand and deception and creative processes, they went into my books. They went in, I don't have any here to show you, but in Devilry, for example, that's 700 pages of my work. So in terms of me training people, the only places they're going to learn from really now are going to be Devilry or how to cheat at cards. I will occasionally do group sessions, like mini lectures, I would call them. I'll never do lectures. I've done 3 in my life and they were all, I didn't enjoy them. So all my works and all my teachings are in those books, How to Cheat at Cards and Devilry. So if you want to learn from me, they're pretty much the only places you can get the real secrets from. How many decks do you have in your collection, and are they all yours? For this, we're gonna need some color. This is basically every deck of cards that I own. I don't really collect playing cards. These are all my own playing cards, so they're my branded playing cards, apart from this little section going on here. A few random ones, and then there's 2 boxes here. The gold gator backs that nobody's ever seen before, very different from what you think they are, the red gator backs. Yeah, that's it. And I will probably use all of these before Christmas, so maybe 3 months worth there. I use playing cards, and once they're worn out, I'll throw them away and get some new ones in. These are the only ones that I'm not going to use in this pile, because I use these for giveaways. These are the private reserve around us. So I have the Martyrs, Confessions, Saints, Hellions 1st, 2nd, and 3rd edition. Mixture of my old decks, like some of these are kind of rare. These gold decks, I will be showing you those. What is the back design of your new decks? I'm not saying this just for effect or impact, but I'm not allowed to show you these. But fuck it, they've got my name all over them, so I guess I'll make that decision. These are the gold rounders. And these are the gold revolvers. So stay tuned. At the end of this video, I'm going to be giving away these playing cards. Are you okay? No, I am not, but I am alright with that. Are you happy with where you are at right now? Yes, I am very happy. I'm happy that I've made decisions to head in the direction I'm heading in. Somebody said to me, they said, why is everything you do always so solemn? Well, that's because I'm a solemn person, you know. I'm not, to express my happiness, I don't have to get up and do a song and dance, you know. And the way that I express myself in my work doesn't involve like smiles and giggles and laughs. The messages that I have to give, they've come from a painful place. That's not to say that I'm hurting or unhappy. That's just where they come from, and my expression of what I do comes from a very, very solemn place. Do you ever think about killing yourself? I think everybody has at some point. What's my opinion on Jabrizi? It's not my argument. I don't have a place in that discussion. There's one thing that I've noted that's worth mentioning that everybody seems to have overlooked. Jabrizi is a performer. He's a magician. Magicians fucking lie. Big surprise, you know, we all do it. We are professional liars. Jabrizi chose his audience. Now, everybody who's arguing against him, his audience is you. It's people behind the screen. The only way you can see him, the only way you ever watch him is on your screen, on your phone, on your laptop, on your computer, on your TV, through YouTube. He chose that audience. What point am I making with this? He's a performer. The screen, that's his stage. This is his theater. There's an important message I got tattooed, borrowed from my friend Bill. My friend Michael said it a lot to me. I got it tattooed on my arm, and it means by any means necessary. It's one of the rules of theater. It's one of the rules of magic. It's one of the rules of performance. By any means necessary. His job is to put on a show for you watching on the screen, under the assumption that everything you see is real. He snaps his fingers, the guy says 7 of hearts, and everybody goes crazy because it was the right fucking card. Now, the trick that he showed those guys who ran away screaming, the Stooges, the trick that he showed them, it's a terrible trick. It's a fucking rubbish trick. That's why he had to get Stooges. That's why they had to be, that's why there was no room for real reactions, because the reactions to that trick are fucking lousy because it's a shit trick. I'm not gonna judge you based on the way that the people you're showing magic to react. I don't give a fuck about the reactions you're getting on camera. When I watch you as a magician, and I'm not talking to you, Jabrizi, I'm talking to everybody, anybody who performs magic. When I watch your performance of magic, I don't give a fuck about how your audience reacts. All I care about is that connection between me and you. That's the only connection that matters, because all I see is you on screen with a magic trick and myself as the observer. I'm judging your trick. I'm the one you need to impress, not the fucking clowns around you who are running away screaming. If the audience, if the people on the camera run away screaming, that means it's a good trick. Fuck that. That is the wrong message. I don't want to watch people reacting to your magic. I want to react to your magic. That's the only place you fucked up, in my opinion. By doing a bad trick. I don't give a fuck if you use Stooges. I don't give a fuck if you use Stooges. This is theater. I expect it. I admire Jabrizi a lot. I think he's a great performer. You know, sometimes we fuck up, we make mistakes, but I think everybody who's judging him and slamming him, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. You do need to jump on a bandwagon, I think, and that's unfair. Thank you so much to everybody who took the time to ask me questions. If I didn't answer your questions in this video, I will try to answer everybody's question personally in the comments section. In my next video, I'm going to give away some gold. These are the gold rounders and the gold revolvers. I should not be showing you these yet. These have been sat in the warehouse since February, since before March. And the reason I've kept these a secret up until now is to make way for the Confessions series. I have no idea when these are going to be released, but some lucky person will win both of these golden decks. Now the person who wins these is going to be the person who comes up with the most interesting name for my next deck of playing cards. One submission per person. Leave your submissions in the comments box below, and who knows, maybe I'll even take that name and use it for a future deck of playing cards. Make it interesting, don't be too silly with it. I am Daniel Madison, I will see you next time.